Get out of the way!
The fuck are you doing?
Bro, I'm trying to drive, dude, and you're doing, like, the speed limit.
I can't fucking go anywhere.
Bro, there's nobody in front of you. What do you mean you can't go anywhere?
It's the speed limit.
Get out of the way, old man!
I'm elderly. Leave me alone.
Welcome back to Smallz Talk Podcast. Today I have with me my hosts, Jacques.
Hello.
And Danielle.
Hi, I love you.
And today we're going to be going over a little bit of vehicle talk. So, driving today, and every other day lately, has been a bit of a pain in the ass. And, you know, I don't want to sound like an old soul, but I feel like there was way less idiot drivers on the road, like 5 years ago, than there is now.
Can we just get these kids off my goddamn lawn?
I want to speak to the driving manager, okay? I want to speak to him. I'm tired of this shit. I'm still kind of sick. And and we missed a week of the podcast, which I just want to say that yes, we decided not to release it. And here's why. We didn't like it.
Behind our Patreon paywall.
Not enough people
You have to
subscribe
pay
to our premium Snapchat.
Right. If you want to, want to add us on our premium Snapchat or our Patreon, they don't exist, so don't try. But maybe they will soon. Maybe they will. But yeah, last week we recorded, and the topic and the vibe of it, it just wasn't there for us. We weren't feeling it. So we scrapped that one, came up with a new topic for this week, gave ourselves a bit of a break, got some food in us, and we're better people. So yeah, sometimes that happens with recording things. You don't really get it right every time. So we apologize for the 1 week missed, but I don't want to put crap content out, so suck it.
So fucking deal with it.
Suck it!
Yeah, okay, so how's everybody been?
Good. Yeah, I mean, to your point earlier about the driving, we do like a pre-podcast meeting of sorts. We usually get breakfast and talk about what we're going to talk about. And going home from that meeting, I stopped at a gas station to get some gas, as you do at a gas station. And someone came flying in and smacked their front end of the bollard as they're pulling up to the pump. And the bollard's like the big concrete and metal barrier in front of the pump. Smacked the fucking thing, split their bumper right open, cracked their headlight. It was pretty amusing.
That's pretty amusing. When I was going to Starbucks yesterday, there's this turn. Okay, and let me say this before I get into it. This is only like 30% my fault, okay? 30%.
I'm going to say it's more.
If you have to preface that, it's not a good look.
Yeah, exactly. If you're prefacing that, it's definitely more than 30%. You're lowballing that for sure.
Okay, well.
100%. All right, continue.
Fuck off.
All your fault. Continue.
It's not.
Yep. Disclaimer.
Okay, let me explain.
All his fault. Continue.
Okay, so you know those planters that they usually put in parking lots where it's like an angled curb, and then inside of it there's some mulch and a tree, whatever. Well,
a shrub.
Something, right?
Shrubbery.
Well, this one, like, you have to take a right turn and then another right turn. And the second right turn is where the tip of this planter thing is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drive straight, and you're basically in the drive-thru at that point. But what happened was I was turning and paying attention normally, but that turn is weird. So you feel like you have to turn sharp so that you don't go into the other lane, right? You're not like smashing into somebody on the other side.
Right.
So I turn, and my car just like slams down. And so that planter, the front of it is completely like the curb itself, the angled curb, is like impacted into the ground because of how many people have driven over it. Then apparently there was a boulder there, which they removed and didn't fill the hole. So it was like I smashed down because of I couldn't feel like the curb didn't push me away because it was compacted down, and then I fucking fell in this goddamn hole that they put there. And it's clearly a problem, and people just hit it.
Drag frame, you think?
I don't know. It made some. My car like jumped into neutral, and it was like, wah, and it was right in front of the drive-through exit. So like, whoever the fuck was there was looking at me like, you idiot. And I was with my friend.
I wonder how loud that was.
Dude, it was.
Had to have been pretty fucking loud.
I mean,
Did
my
the
car's
person
pretty
in
quiet.
front of you or behind you do that?
No, but when we were leaving the drive-through,
So all your fault.
we.
Continue.
No, fucker. When we were leaving the drive-through, you could see there's multiple track marks of where people have like dragged the dirt out of that area. We were leaving and there was a bunch of like dirt marks. You could clearly tell that it was hit regularly. They probably removed that boulder because people were fucking hitting that boulder. Like
Probably. It seems like a good deterrent though. Like, hey, pay attention.
yeah. They're probably like people were probably suing it. It was just bad engineering, and I don't believe that was my fault. So, I mean, yes, like I said, 30% my fault, but clearly if everybody else is hitting it, that's like an engineering problem, right? They should have
Right.
You know, when you're a civil engineer, you shouldn't be planning things where like 40% of people run over your planter, right? Like that's not
Poorly engineered.
Right. My friend was in the car and she was just like, every time we took a turn from then on, she was like, careful of that curb, careful of that curb. I was like, you fuck, stop.
That's hilarious.
But some people might say that I was just an idiot driver, which is a decent segue back to idiot drivers. And I feel like every time I'm on the road these days, they're just slow ass people in front of me. Like slow ass people that don't know how to drive. And it's really irritating. Now, I gotta say, there's like a leniency to the speed limit, right? Like 30 miles an hour. A cop generally won't pull you over for 35, right?
Right.
And everybody on the highway, if it's like a 65, then people are usually doing like 70, 75, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people do the speed limit, I get infuriated. Or even
It's agonizing.
yeah, it's not okay to be doing that. Because you're just
Even the speed limit on like normal roads, like not a highway, gets me infuriated too. But on the highway, it's especially bad when they're in like the left-hand lane.
yeah. Okay, what about
If they're not all the way to the right, like get the fuck out of the way.
dude, seriously. It's bad. And also, what's even worse is highways that have like 35 mile per hour speed limits.
Mm.
Like it's not a interstate highway, but it's a highway.
Like a state highway.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, those get me, dude. Because it's like, why can't I go faster? Dude, like, there's just miles of straight road. I don't understand.
Right.
I'm still a little sick, so if you guys can hear that, I apologize. I've been sick for like 2 weeks.
Has it been 2 weeks already?
Yeah, it's infuriating, dude. It's worse than.
Go to the doctor.
It's just like I'm just really mucusy, like really nasally. Like I'm just really nasally, and I don't know why. Ugh.
Please do the whole podcast like that.
No, I won't listen to it. I won't edit it. I won't edit the
I
podcast.
refuse
of it.
to
Yeah.
edit.
If I sound
It's
like
a pretty effective way to stop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one time, like last weekend, I was driving and this person in front of me was doing like 29, 30. I was doing like 35 and I was kind of on their butt. And it was a nice day. We all had our windows down. And all of a sudden, the guy brake checks me at 30 miles an hour. And I'm like,
Mhm.
what's up, bro? Like, what are you doing? And he just starts yelling. I can hear him. He turns around. Like, he's still in front of me. He turns around, looking out his back window while driving, yells at me, turns around, looks in the rearview mirror, yells at me, and I can hear him yelling at me. And I'm just like, dude, you are one ghetto-ass motherfucker, okay? Just, like, go. I'm like, if that happened in this instance, that dude must get so mad on the roads. Like, he's probably got a heart condition.
Right.
Because he gets so mad.
Just developed like a palpitation or something.
Seriously.
Just from the rage.
Seriously. Speaking of,
I don't think I ever get like that mad on the road to like actually yell at people.
right.
No,
You-
like I'll
that's what
yell.
I get mad and like frustrated, but I've never like openly screamed at somebody out the window.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
what the
Like
fuck?
I'm yelling at them, but like to myself in the car as if someone's with me. And I do that like hand gesture that everyone does. That's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the what the
yeah,
fuck.
Yeah, exactly. But like I don't think I've ever like rolled down my window to actually yell at someone.
Yeah. It seems a bit excessive. Like, you're just not forming to societal rules at that point. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
And I just like wouldn't want to get into a fight with somebody over like driving. Like neither of us got into an accident.
Right.
I don't want to like throw hands. So like, what's the point of yelling?
Even when I got into an accident, dude, when like this lady hit me, like no way of saying it otherwise. Like, you hit the ass end of my car turning left while I was in the other lane. Like, you hit me, right?
That's pretty unexcusable. Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry.
Right, yeah. So, and she was like, it was an older lady driving an Audi, and I parked a little bit further down the road, but I walked back to her, and she's on the phone. I'm like, you calling the police? And she's like, no, I'm on the phone with my husband. And I was like, okay, I'll call the police, I guess. Yeah, because you hit me, she said. And I was like, what? I was like, you're fucking kidding, right? I was like, yeah. Once I heard that, I was like, I'm absolutely calling the police. Like,
Right.
Get your ass over here. Sure enough, I was reimbursed and yada, yada, yada.
Was she found at fault ultimately?
Yeah, for sure. It's cut and dry. You hit the passenger rear of my car. There's just no way of me hitting her. Unless I was backing up, which I wasn't. So.
Or you like dove into her lane or something.
Right. But if I didn't, so like what happened was it was a 2-lane road, and she went to turn left across my lane to get into a parking lot on the other side of my lane. And she tried to do this in one foul swoop, right? Like an idiot. So I see this happening, and I'm like, okay, if I slam on the brakes, I'm going to hit her door, like her driver's side door. So I sped up, and I was like, almost there. And dude, I had the first of all, eco mode on cars, it's a real sore spot for me because you need power in your car to get out of like sticky situations. I had eco mode on. And if I didn't, I would have completely avoided the accident.
If you wide open throttle, it negates it.
I did, but it still takes a second to go, are you really doing this? You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to go fast? Think of the environment. I'm like, I'm going to die, motherfucker. Go fast. So eventually it like kicked in, and I was able to get a little bit out of the way. But that half a second or like more like a second of lag, it felt like, would have made the difference. Because I tried to speed past her, but she still hit the ass end of my car.
So she tried turning while you guys were like door to door?
Well, no. What happened was she tried turning while she was slightly in front of me. And so I turned left to like try to avoid it. And then if I hit the brakes, she would have turned into the front of my car and I would have hit her door.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I turned left, sped up, went in the breakdown lane area, tried to get out of the way, and she hit the ass end of my car. Because she did she was in the right lane, had the right directional on, swung to the right side of the road, and swung left into my lane.
Like she didn't know which side she was supposed to get off on?
Right, and then she was like, oh, it's over there, and tried to get into the parking lot to the left of me. And I think she was trying to like visit her husband, because she called her husband, and her husband was there and quicker than the cops were. So I think he was in one of those office buildings.
Good response time.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the meme of that? It looks like almost somewhere in Asia where there's like one car like missed their exit and they're like trying to back up.
Oh my God, yeah. No.
On this like 6-lane highway. They're trying to back up out of, to get off the exit. So she's at like a dead stop and they're just rolling backwards to get off the exit, and there's just people like flipping over and trucks flipping over, like just avoiding her.
Oh my God, dude.
So funny.
I'm still curious, and this is a very sad story, but I do want to talk about it. 7 people died in a head-on collision. It was a motorcycle group that got hit by a truck with a like trailer on the back of it, and it was a two-way road, and the truck appears to have, from what the photos show, appears to have cut into their lane and killed 7 people. But I don't know what happened in that situation, but either that guy had a heart attack, an aneurysm, or all the other possibilities are his fault, right? Like this is
right. If it wasn't like a medical thing, then it's like definitely his fault.
And or maybe like a deer, but you shouldn't be, the deer. You hit the deer, right? You got 7 people on the other side of you. Hit the deer,
right?
Well, probably more. There was probably I think like 10. And they were actually...
Yeah, unless it was a medical condition or there was 8 people in front of his car that he was swerving to avoid.
Right.
Then it was... I guess it could be like a mechanical failure too.
Mechanical failure, yeah. But
I think you'd be able to see that probably from, actually, I don't know.
but
There'd
cars
be a
are,
lot of carnage hitting
yeah.
7 motorcycles, so.
yeah, like a mechanical failure, you don't hear a lot of car accidents happen due to a mechanical failure, you know? Like cars are pretty, in America at least, pretty well regulated inspection-wise, you know? They're like, okay,
Right.
make sure you
I
have,
don't know. I've seen some stuff on the roads that really should not be.
but for the most part, like I've never heard of an accident causing that many deaths from a weird mechanical failure. Because if your engine fails, it just you might catch on fire, but you go down into the breakdown lane on the right side.
Right.
Um,
You'd have to have, like, your tire fall off on that side or something, or
right.
I don't even think, like, a control rod failing would do anything to, like, pull you that far over.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Even a tire popping, I don't think you would throw you over that side. You would get like, oh man, that got squirrely, but I don't know. To completely cut across the left lane, it seems sketchy.
Mm.
Like maybe falling asleep at the wheel or substances or something like that.
But they didn't say anything about, like, the driver, the health of the driver.
No, honestly, all that we're talking about is speculation. Nothing has come from
I'm pretty sure
any
that they
official
held
source.
a actual thing today that they talked about the findings of it,
Really?
like the governor or something. Yeah.
Can you someone try finding that? But yeah, that was like terrible. Honestly, that's part of one of the reasons why I haven't got a motorcycle, because I just hear of people dying on motorcycles all the time. And
Yeah, I knew somebody that I've known people that die on motorcycles, and also someone who crashed a motorcycle and lost like half their brain.
Yeah, I know two
Right.
people that have been. I know a lot of people that have been in like motorcycle accidents that have been pretty bad.
and like I feel like half of them are because of other drivers doing stuff.
Right, you're just so exposed. You have to, like, you're basically taking a gamble that other people are competent enough to keep you safe.
Right. And
Which is why I don't understand why people, like, if I'm driving the MR2 around, people will come up, like, on motorcycles, like, flock around me and, like, fly up next to me and, like, want me to race. And I'm like, I would never do that on a motorcycle with another car. 'Cause,
right.
like, if that person fucks up, then you're dead. You know what I mean?
Right. Also, it's not even like the same. Why would you want to race a car that's I don't know, like 2,000 pounds heavier than you? Like, what? The power to weight ratios on a bike is always going to be better than a car.
Right. Yeah.
So seems like a silly, like you're looking for an easy win, you know?
Right. It's especially shitty when they, like, have people on the back of their motorcycle. I'm like, you're not just taking your life at risk here, but you're also taking into risk, like, the person behind you.
Right.
Like, if I fuck up and I crash, like, I'll be safe in the car, but if I crash into you, then you're not going to be good.
I feel like people, a lot of the way, oh my God, a lot of ways, no, wow. Okay.
Are you okay?
The way a lot of people justify that risk is like, you know, if I'm meant to die, I'll die, whatever. Like, but it's like, no, because let's take a look here. Okay, let's lay out all the people who have had physical harm from riding on a motorcycle. If they weren't riding on a motorcycle, they wouldn't have that harm. So it's like, you can't say that like, oh, that's just how it's meant to be, and there's some higher power that will protect me.
Right.
It's like, no, it's just, you get yourself on a bike, there's like an 80% higher risk of you dying. That's just it.
Yeah, that's what's prevented me from getting a motorcycle license.
I mean, I have my motorcycle license. I just have never had a bike. And it's funny because I'm saying that, you know, people need to drive faster. But my thing is that going slower is more dangerous than going fast. Because, A, you get higher traffic numbers. In traffic, you have bigger accidents. Well, more accidents, I should say.
Dude, the amount of times that, sorry, just to talk to that point a little bit, the amount of times I drive a lot back and forth to work, right? I drive like an hour every day of like just straight highway time. So the frequency in which you see accidents on both sides of the highway, so someone will get into an accident on one side of the highway, and then that causes traffic on the other side of the highway due to like curiosity, and people just smash into each other because they're not paying attention. It's like almost 100%.
Yeah. And when we drove to New York, dude, all the cars had like bumper, like rubber bumper stoppers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. On their, yeah.
to protect themselves from people hitting. I'm like,
Right.
whoa. Also, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that if you go to New York now and you go from like any street below the center-ish of Central Park,
Mhm.
you have to like pay a toll or get taxed or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how true that is.
London does that.
London?
Yeah, to drive a car into London, you have to pay like a certain tax.
Are you saying London?
London, yeah.
London, like London, England?
Yup.
Like London Towers. There was a statistic I read like last year that there's some highway in Mass where like the speed limit is so greatly reduced, like it's like a 50, like it's an actual highway, and it's like a 50 mile an hour, 45, 55, something like that at like a section, and it has one of like the highest accidents rates in the country in that spot because of the difference in speed. You know, further to
Really?
Zach's point there.
That's another thing. If you want to talk about how traffic happens, it's not, if you have a consistent 55 mile per hour highway, that's safer than 65 to 45, right? Because that change, becoming dynamic.
Mm.
Humans are good at doing one thing consistently. Like we just get used to it, right? Until we get
Driving
tired.
in straight lines aren't one of them.
Yeah, but so once the speed changes, that increases the risk. Anytime you're changing, and then like tolls, like once they put in overhead camera tolls, that probably reduced traffic by a metric butt ton, and it probably reduced accidents too because you're not having to slow down to go through these really narrow areas.
Yeah, I bet on weekends where you have high volume going through there, like anytime during the summer, going up 93.
Yeah.
I feel like that probably cut down a huge portion
Oh yeah.
of the traffic, at least in that area.
Yeah, and in Massachusetts, they do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you put a toll in Massachusetts, you're creating a massive amount of traffic. That's just no avoiding that. Any sort of change like that, like merging. If you have like terrible on ramps and off ramps, like zipper interchanges, oh, do that. Everybody's swerving through each other. Nobody knows what to do. They're all hitting each other. It's like, oh my god.
Loop connectors, I think, are the worst, though.
Oh yeah.
I fucking hate loop connectors.
Yeah. You're spinning around and then you got to go cross lanes. And it's just so bad, dude. So
right,
bad.
and then you're trying to get on the highway, but you're competing with the people who are getting off the highway, so you have no run-up lane. Like, they're immediately at the bottom of your on-ramp.
Right.
So you have to, like, cut into a lane of active traffic in order to, like, gain speed. It's fucked.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Dude, highway construction. Like, there's this game, I think it's City Skylines, that has like ridiculous highway construction stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really complex. Like, the algorithms they come up, if you want to look at like interchanges that basically the traffic never stops and it's the least traffic interchange, it's this gigantic circular spaghetti looking mess of elevated roads and sub roads and all this just to get one interchange to work properly.
Really?
And have no traffic. Yeah, it's actually a really cool simulator, but it's very hard to engineer that stuff.
I don't envy anyone who has to design roads. So I feel like you'll never, like, please everybody.
Yeah, no, impossible for sure.
Well, that's because like I feel like there's a 3-prong approach, right? You need to have decent public transportation so that you don't cluster your roads up, right? B, you need to build the roads properly and design them properly. And C, you need to have vehicles and drivers that can increase speed over time so you don't have as much traffic. When people get older, they think slower.
I was going to say, immediate shot at the elderly here.
No. I'm just saying, like, if we had all autonomous vehicles,
Yeah.
and we raise the speed limit 20 miles per hour, our traffic would drop like drastically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, was that an echo or did you guys just say both need to say yeah,
we
for sure
bo-
at the
we-
same
we
time.
both said
We
it.
both just said it. It sounded exactly like an echo, though. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, so the United States, at least, doesn't take advantage of public transportation. So you have a bunch of slow ass idiot people on the road. And then we don't have autonomous vehicles. And I feel like our speed limits are slow as fuck. So it's just, I don't know. It's a mess. That was a really long rant, but it is what it is.
Okay.
I think autonomous vehicles will help huge. The problem is
Huge.
it will help immensely.
We're going to have the greatest traffic flows.
It'll be
Billions
so
and billions
long
of traffic.
before enough people have it. Like,
You think?
I
Dude,
think-
okay.
think of how many cars you see out there that are like cars.
Don't yell at me.
from-
Don't attack my approach.
Think of how many cars you see out there on the roads that are like from the early 90s, like an early 90s Corolla or Camry or something
Mm.
driving. Like, people just can't afford to buy these newer cars.
Don't
And-
talk shit about Camrys.
As an example, although I should have used like Civics or Accords for around here or something. But
Yeah.
like, you see so many people drive these cars that are, you know, a sub maybe $1,000 car, maybe even stretch it to sub $5,000 car. So it's just going to be so long before there's so many autonomous vehicles where it's enough to make like a huge impact where they can change things around these autonomous vehicle travel.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have autonomous lanes.
Yes, like an HOV lane for autonomous or
Yeah.
something. I think that's what's going to happen, and I think it's going to be great, honestly.
Oh yeah,
So
dude.
you're going to have one lane doing like 1,000 miles per hour because it's all autonomous vehicles. And then you're just going to have like a 65-mile-an-hour lane immediately to the right.
Oh yeah, and people do it now, but they shouldn't be sleeping in your car.
Yeah.
How great is that gonna be?
That's going to be amazing.
Well, what's the math? So like Jay, you commute, and you'd say
Yeah.
what? Let's say
Like a week or a day?
a day.
A
Three-
day is 2.5 hours, basically.
Okay, 2.5 hours per day, and
Times
5 days a
for a
week.
week.
times 4 weeks in a month times 12.
Times 12.
So 600 hours of driving.
That's a lot of time I could be sleeping.
Yeah, or like maybe something productive if you wanted to do that.
But sleep makes me happy.
Times
Right,
that by
yeah. I mean,
30 years, that's 15,000. That's for me, which is less than yours. It's over 15,000 hours of driving.
oh my god.
That's so much.
So
of your
imagine
life.
what you could do with 15,000 hours more free time in your life.
Mm. I could waste my time playing video games or laying in bed so much more effectively.
Right? But I mean, if you wanted to take, I mean, let's be real. Most people probably are just going to do more Instagram, social media, sleep, eat, whatever.
Right. Typical human things.
Right, yeah. But I mean, if somebody really took advantage of that, you could read so many more books. You could learn so much more. You could, I mean, I admit that I'd probably watch a lot more YouTube, but the things that I watch on YouTube are very educational. It's like, you know, home building stuff or investment stuff, or, you know, it's rare that I like to watch something that's completely uninformational.
Vapid.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, I'll watch David Dobrik vlogs, but that's a 4-minute, twice a week or once a week thing, I think, at this point. I think it's once a week. So it's not like I'm doing crazy stuff, but I'm saying like
Right.
you get that much more time back. You could do a lot more with that.
Do you guys listen to audiobooks while you're driving?
I listen to fucking podcasts.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts.
Mm.
I listen to this.
I feel like the
no,
next step is to start listening to audiobooks from podcasts. So
Yeah, I've dabbled in it a couple times, and I always find my way back to like music. I don't listen to podcasts a whole lot while I'm driving.
Yeah,
But-
well, okay, so the thing about audiobooks for me is that they're primitive, right? You're listening to a book being read to you, which is like kind of, a book is meant for you to read it and use your imagination to build things and images up in your head. Whereas like a podcast needs more tone to it, more structure. You don't need as much detailed wording. I don't know. Actually, I could be making. Is that right? That makes
Well,
sense.
well, the way I see it, you're consuming a book, like whether it's being read to you or you're reading it, it's the same words. Like audiobooks don't add context to the stories. You know what I mean? Like an audiobook is just them reading what the author has written. They're not adding anything else into
The only
it.
thing you might get is like a different tone or something of the way how someone reads it. Like they could read it with different
Yeah,
emotion.
whoever. Yeah, I guess.
And
Yeah,
like
that's true.
me reading it versus you reading it could be totally different. But like you said, it's still the book. It's still what's written. You know.
Do you guys hear what you read in your head?
Like, do you read it back to yourself?
No, like when you read things, do you hear a voice in your head saying what you're reading?
I hear my voice.
You hear your voice, okay.
I don't
What
know.
do you
now.
What do you hear? Like,
I don't
Morgan
think I hear
Freeman's
a voice at all.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I hear a voice either.
What are you talking? How do you not hear some? You're reading it, so like, when I'm reading something, I'm like, the cow jumped over the moon. Like it's narrated. You know what I mean?
I don't think I get narrated.
How? See, that blows my mind. What do you mean? You just get images in your head?
Yeah.
When you look at paper, it's just images that pop up in your head. You don't see.
It's like subtitles
Yeah.
in my head though.
I don't know. That's weird. I find that hard to believe. I don't know.
Well, that's a topic that I had heard talked about recently, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Because I guess there's some people that have like dictation feedback in their head and some that don't.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
I don't-
I hear any voice, my own or anything.
Well,
I'm just
that,
like, okay, these are words. I just
That's
absorbed what I was
Yeah,
looking
that's how I.
wow, weird. Oh yeah, you know what? So like Dan, you know how you said that
No, I didn't.
some people can't afford like a Tesla or a autonomous vehicle?
at. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's going to be services where you can literally let your autonomous vehicle go drive while you're at work.
Right, but
So you
still,
can, like-
there's people who still aren't going to be able to afford. So it's just
It's
for
prob-
example, say
here's the thing.
say a Tesla, their goal is to get a Model 3 for $30,000, and say that's with full autonomy. Your vehicle's going out and driving. It's not paying for itself though. You have to factor in the fact that they're also going to have to pay for maintenance, which is very low on a Tesla from what I've heard, but it's still maintenance. You have to pay for wear things like tires, brake pads, etc. And then now, though, they're financing a car most likely because it's $30,000 versus their $1,500 car, which means
Yeah,
that they
you-
now
no, you're
have to have
take- you're-
full insurance. Like, I don't think a lot of people can afford it.
Right. But I'm not saying poor people are going to do that. I'm saying poor people are going to take advantage of this service.
Maybe, but it would have
Because
to be a
if
good
you-
cost to them because, like, it's still
Well, I know.
operating this, sticking with the, mid 90s or early 90s Honda Civic, you're getting, easily 30 miles per gallon or something. Here in New Hampshire, you may not have to pay for insurance at all. You might not have anything. And so you're just running around with this, which you're just paying for gas in, and it still could be significantly cheaper than using this sharing thing. I hope that it is going to get to the point where it's cheap enough that these, ride sharing, whatever it turns into, this autonomous
Right, but
will be a thing that most people use. I do hope so, but I just think there's such
Didn't
a
the
large
C-
people that won't.
Didn't the CEO of Uber say that his ultimate goal for the company is autonomy?
yeah,
I think so.
all those guys are all working on autonomous vehicles. So here's the thing. If you we don't even, because we haven't sat down and really thought about it, and we're not paid to think about it, we don't have all of the edge cases and the crazy algorithms that can make the numbers work. So let's say there are 5 people that all go to the same job and they all kind of live on a same path. What can happen is there can literally be like a bus, okay guys, you're going to get picked up at this time, and then you're going to, on the way, we're going to pick up this person and this person, and it can be like a pool. So you have
Bring school buses back.
bring school buses back. So you can have 5 people get picked up to one job, and that could be from somebody that already has, it could be somebody else's car, or it could even be somebody that works their car. So efficiencies in the algorithms that they make up can make it super cheap. So you have 5 people paying for one ride down. It could be like $15 or $20 for everybody to do that, and you don't have to pay for any of the maintenance, any of that car insurance stuff. So that one person can basically make it super cheap. the people that have the money to buy that car, they'll get paid a little bit more while they're not working. So it's like passive income, but also it'll make it cheaper for everybody to do that. And you could even do, oh, this is a friend ride. Like I want to go pick up my friends, and you don't even have to charge them. You could, or charge them a discount. So it's like a break even cost that, Tesla came up with through their algorithms and maintenance costs and all that. Okay, go do that. Yeah, for sure. I'll go pick up my 5 coworkers and I'll give them the at cost price. So not only is that reducing, or making energy usage more efficient, but it's bringing costs down. And if everybody's doing that, I think it's possible to, make it pretty cheap for people to just go use it, And you can even start doing like taxing people if you want to do it state or federal. People that have those or that don't have autonomous vehicles that add to society could get
a tax rebate or like a tax write-off.
Yeah, like a tax write-off, or the people that have the cars could get a tax rebate. So you could tax incentivize it. I can't think of everything off the top of my head right now, but
tax latent.
Yeah. And you got to think about how many people might not be able to get a job because they don't have a car. And having basically the most modular public transportation system in the world would make everybody be able to get a job pretty much. Because everybody has a cell phone at this point, even if you are in the poverty line. Like most people have cell phones.
Below the poverty line.
Yeah. So you can open this app, see if there's a route or whatever, and maybe
hop on.
Yeah, you could set up an account where basically that person has a below poverty line account, and if you pick up X amount of people that are below the poverty line, you might get a tax break on your taxes or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's incentive there to bring the people up.
Another way that this might change too is the form factor of vehicles might change.
The form factor of them?
Yeah, so you might be able to like fit more people in potentially to a vehicle, because like how it's set up now, you have like a driver and a passenger in the front generally, and you have seating behind. But if there is no driver, like if it's a fully autonomous vehicle, then you could reinvent that space and maybe fit more people in more comfortably.
And in the same footprint, like think of all the unused space of like your engine bay where the engine is, and like that hood,
exactly,
like that could all be used for actual seating and everything, so they could fit
like
easily 2 more people
Tesla's designed their cars with like conventional cars in mind, but that's because we still have to operate them. So I wonder if once we remove that element of human user interfacing, if that just goes away, then what people will do with the form factor.
Yeah. That's a really good point, because I mean, have you guys seen the new VW bus that's coming out, the electric one?
No, I've heard of it. I haven't seen any pictures of it though.
I mean, it's probably just a ton of space in that, because the whole powertrain's at the bottom. So that thing, A, is going to have great rollover resistance, and B, just a ton of space, man. You could fit in probably like 8 people in that car. And if people buy cars like that, you could increase your return on your autonomous profits. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool. I think that whole system is really going to revolutionize. You know how like Uber gave people jobs and it was a really big revolutionary thing? Like think about if you ever need money now, before Uber, you'd have to go to a job somewhere, right? Or like start a taxi company or become a taxi driver. But now you can just download an app, get in your car, and boom, you have a job. Like that's crazy. That's so revolutionary. I mean, I've even thought about doing Uber. I work 40 hours a week, but if I wanted to go do Uber after work, I could, potentially make 6 figures just doing that on top of my current salary. And that's a pretty crazy idea, right? Like that's right. And I mean, I have a lot of free time because I have some hobbies, but sometimes it's slow, and other people can do that too. So if it was an autonomous vehicle, imagine working all day. Dude, that'd be crazy. Making like, I don't know, maybe 20K more a year just off your car driving around. That'd be nuts, dude. Oh, I want that to happen.
More money.
And I think at that point, that would be the first time in history that buying a car is a good investment. Like that would be an actual investment, not just a
I don't know. I know someone that told me it was the best financial decision that you could make on paper.
No, you're pulling that out of context, you fuck. Okay. Let me clarify this for the listeners. I did say a few years ago that the Honda Civic was the best car on paper. Okay. If you're gonna buy a car, Honda Civic was really good. And it's pretty good. Like it was
brakes not so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are those brakes working out for you on paper?
So 50-50 me, 50-50 the car, right? Because the brakes work, they're just not racing brakes, which I was used to.
You're accustomed to those.
Yeah, for the better part of my driving lifetime, I've had vehicles that have had really good stopping power to their brakes. Okay, whatever. But I did say that the Civic was like $20,000. It had really great fuel efficiency, CVT, like it was just really good, like a very efficient, well-priced car. And dude, if you look around, do you see how many Honda Civics are driving around? Like,
yeah, they're multiplying, and Camrys too. It's pretty much the same thing, just a Toyota body.
Right. You can't hate me on that. I made a call, dude. I should have bought stock in Honda when I
as soon as you bought the car.
Yeah, no, when I said that, because it was like, a bunch of people have them now.
Yeah. How often do you fuel up your car? Like, how much do you spend on gas?
The thing is he's not driving an hour or more like you. And
Hey.
It was a question to the whole group though, not just Zach.
I feel attacked. Okay, Dan, go first, buddy.
No.
No.
Okay,
I
fine,
refuse.
I'll go first. I usually don't fill up once a week.
Wow.
And so I think I can usually get away with like 2 weeks, pretty much.
So that's what, like $20 a week? What's it, 40 to fill your tank ish?
No, it's like 25 to fill my
Oh
tank.
my
25 to
god.
fill your tank.
Yeah.
I wish.
So you're looking at like $17 a week, basically.
Roughly, yeah.
For gas.
Well, yeah. We'll say that worst case,
I think that's my daily.
No. Wait.
cost of fuel.
Below $15 a week, because it's usually not $30 to fill my tank. It's like 25. It's like $12 a week.
Right. I'm sorry, I went the wrong way with that math.
Yeah, you did.
I meant 12, not 17.
Yeah. I don't drive really much, so.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah, I think that's actually $12 is like my daily cost of fuel. It's very close to my daily cost.
Damn. And what's your car get for MPGs? Because mine gets like on the highway, mine gets pretty much 38 to 40 miles per gallon.
I get 29. Well, I average around 27 to 29, depending on like traffic levels.
Yeah. I mean, you should, when you upgrade, you should look into a Honda Civic, bro.
Best
I'm
financial
looking at
decision
Civics.
you
I'm
can
looking
make
at
on paper.
Camrys and Accords as well.
Yeah.
I want a Toyota Avalon, but it doesn't. It's a V6 and it doesn't get good enough gas mileage. I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, it literally is a game changer when you go from a car that, because dude, when I had the S3, it was like $35 to $40 a week in gas. It sucked.
I feel like you were driving it more though.
Yeah, and I was wide open throttling it a lot more too. Everybody's like, all right, let's get in the car, let's go fast, because that car's quick. That car was
that
really
thing
quick.
had some fucking balls. But
Yeah.
I've experienced that though, because I went from the truck, which got like maybe 10 to 12 mpg ish, to the Audi, and I fuel up the same amount of times, but the gas tank is way smaller.
Right.
So I
Okay.
end up saving a bunch.
But you know what you do when you get like a car that's actually much more fuel efficient?
Not
Like
cry about fuel costs.
Dude, yeah, like I used to think about fuel costs all the time with like the Subaru STI and the A3 or the S3.
Especially when you needed 93 fuel. Like I have to use 93 in the Audi,
Right.
and it's super fucking expensive.
Right. I don't even use 93. Although I kind of want to try it out to see if I get better fuel efficiency.
You won't.
But it opens up like a world of possibilities when you don't have to pay that much in gas. You're like, I can go to
Right.
Boston all the time. I can go to New York. I can
It's like getting a raise.
Yeah, it really is. It is, because you're lowering your operational costs. And that's just, puts you in a whole new world. It's
Right.
sick. It's really nice. I really like it.
I definitely want to look into getting another car.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, you're in a different situation where you don't really have a big car payment, but your debt on that car is not as much as mine. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think I might even be below 1,000 at this point owed on the Audi.
right. So like, if you spend another $2,000, like you've already spent a bunch, right?
Mhm.
But if we forget that, but if you calculate all of what you spent on it, it's still like $15,000 below what I've spent on my car. You know what I mean? So there's always that to account for, but sometimes it's easier to get a new car. Or like if you could hold on to it and then like get like a Tesla, that would be a good jump. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Going from all the fuel to none of the fuel.
Right. Especially because your house has a
Solar
power on it.
And there's there's superchargers at work too.
Ooh,
Oh my
done deal.
God.
You have to.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like it would be a really good idea for you to get.
They're always packed though, so you have to get there like super early. Like the CEO and the CFO both drive Teslas, and there's only like 4 spots available.
Yeah, but they're not there.
To, like
super
muscle
late.
them out of it.
If you're working second shift,
I think they're
That's true,
expanding.
second, yeah.
So we have electric vehicle parking. It's not necessarily like Tesla supercharger, because like I've seen
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Volts there and like Ford whatever that they're plug-in hybrid. The Nissan one.
Yeah.
But I think we have like 6, maybe 8 spots at my work, and it's like I've just noticed how consistently more filled it has become. Like there used to be like 2 cars there, then it was like 3, 4, like slowly more and more. Now it's filled every single day, like no matter what time of day you're going out there, pretty much it's like filled.
Right.
And I think now they're doing construction in the parking garage at my work, and I think now they're expanding it to double the amount of spots for electric at my work, which is
Yeah, and I bet
crazy.
you won't even last that long because it's gone up exponentially, the integration of electric vehicles. Or the company I work at, if you want to believe that, the company I work at's a good cross section because we have like a diverse like income range, I guess.
Yeah, that's
So-
like my
Yeah,
work as
yeah.
well. Like
Right. So you kind of see like it trickling down. So like you see like the top level people starting to get it, and then like like the little middle managers starting to get it. It's even starting to like trickle down.
and that's just one of the
further than
3
that.
parking garages at my work as well. So there's 3 garages, and I'm not sure if all of them have electric parking, but I imagine at least 2 of them do. So that just tells
Yeah,
you
I
how
mean-
many electric cars,
it's becoming more popular. And the great thing about that too is eventually with the autonomous that they'll just like once they're done charging, they'll have like the electric arm that unplugs from the car and pulls away, and then the car can actually drive itself to a normal uncharged spot, and people can park in there, and another car can park itself in there. A queue basically. And also companies are going to incentivize. That'll be an incentive if you have an electric vehicle. A company like if you have companies like medical device companies or software engineering companies or any of those like techie sort of companies that money's going to be coming into, and they're kind of like the new gen company.
right.
They're gonna be like, hey, like we have solar panels on our building, and we just give our employees free electric, whatever, so they don't even have to worry about gas, and that's a raise in itself.
Right.
know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a huge incentive. Oh my God, I don't drive. So there's basically 2 ways. If you don't drive that much, or if you drive and they give you that incentive, that's great, dude. That's awesome. So I think that's really cool. I'm excited for that, dude. Oh my God, I want that. But real talk, Jay, you should like look into getting a Tesla.
Yeah, I'll think about it. It's been
You
on my radar,
first,
but
Zach.
it's still just outside of my price range, but I could reach, I guess.
I think you could reach, and I think over the 10-year life of the vehicle, it'd be a lot better investment than a gas car. But
so you do it first.
I'm not.
You do it first.
why
and then
me?
We'll follow on your.
It would be it would be a total waste for me to do. I don't even drive. We just went over
You'd be
this.
plugged in all the time. Like it just,
Yeah,
you never see the range meter go down.
yeah. Like literally, I would never.
ever.
Yeah, dude, the entire life of the whole lifespan of the car gets charged like twice.
Right. Well, electric
Over
cars are
your
much more
existence.
efficient from A to B because there's
Right.
less drivetrain loss and all that. So honestly, I would get even higher fuel efficiency because I usually do a lot of city driving. So that
Mhm.
would be even higher.
You get the regenerative braking and everything.
Yeah, that, but also like it's kind of the reverse. Like cars on the highway are more efficient, but electric vehicles, because of this magnetic force that happens in the motors, as you go faster in an electric car, there's more resistance in the wheels, in the engines. So they actually kind of get a little bit less fuel efficient on the highway. So I'd be getting a relatively big fuel efficiency for city driving. But, I don't drive much, so it would be kind of pointless for me.
I wonder, just thinking about the whole like battery capacity thing and talking about speeding, I wonder how fast you could go from here to my work, which is like an hour of just straight highway driving. Like, I wonder how fast you could go, like the fastest you could go to drain the battery the fastest. Like, what's the lowest percentage you could get to work with?
Right, like once you hit 150 miles per hour, you would run out just as you're pulling into your work's parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotcha. I don't know, but with EV stuff, like if there was an EV lane, oh my God, you would get to work like so fast. Oh, dude, imagine having. We were thinking about the time saving where you could do a lot more in a car, but once you get EV lanes or autonomous vehicles, your drives overall are going to be shorter. So, damn, electric vehicles really are just good all around. Holy crap! Like I used to preach electric vehicles, not knowing the full benefits of them, but like, oh my God, there's just.
Well, I think you're tying electric vehicles and autonomy together.
Yeah.
I am.
Which is like an acceptable thing to do.
It is. And also, like, electric vehicles are a lot safer.
Yeah.
Which make them better candidates for autonomous driving.
Yeah.
I can't wait for electric trucks. Because I want...
Like big rigs or like a pickup truck?
A pickup truck. Because I like the concept of a truck.
I'm a big utility guy.
Right. I mean, I would love to have a truck and always have my tools in it and whatever kind of storage, or you go camping.
Surfboards, wasn't that included in like one of the advertisements?
Yeah, because there's this. Yeah, if we're talking about the damn, what's that truck's name? It's
like a weird name.
Well, whatever. One of the electric truck companies, Rivian.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's a Rivian truck. Yeah, because of the drivetrain's completely flat, you get so much more storage space. And right behind the seat, there's an area where you can like put a surfboard, like a standard length surfboard, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty crazy.
Or anything. But I mean, if you think of like how much torque you can get, if you think of commercial vehicles in electricity, that blows my mind because the torque. If you could have 8,000 pounds of towing capacity or whatever, or 8,000 foot-pounds of torque. Dump trucks.
Ripping tire, you like rip the asphalt up.
Right, dude. Like having a dump truck with that much torque, those slow. Because I always get stuck behind like dump trucks, dude, and they are slow AF. They could just,
Yeah, especially with all the construction that goes around your house.
Oh yeah, constant construction. I just feel like there's always road construction in this region for some reason, but
I think it's because of the change in weather.
Oh yeah, that's true. It does mess stuff up. That's another thing. You're not gonna like have all these cars pumping in a bunch of like heat. Like I wonder what that's gonna do to like the local temperatures.
The thing is,
you think it'll have that drastic of an effect?
I don't know. You got to think about like how much heat an engine puts off, and then you put a bunch of cars near each other. That's got to be a 10-degree Fahrenheit difference if you're in like an immediate area, right? Especially in the summer where the heat's trapped. There's not a whole lot of wind. But I don't know. Maybe not.
Very, very plain. Very
flat. And noise pollution. Because I live in a city.
I can't wait for that. I can hear so far. My house is at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And I can hear so far away.
Oh, dude, it's
Like I could probably hear the MR2 halfway to your house from my house.
Well, dude, when I had the STI, one of my friends was sitting outside their house, and I was like a couple miles away from their house, and they could hear me. But I also had an external wastegate.
Dan knows about that.
Oh yeah, I forgot you got pulled over driving that. Oh my god. Oh, that's a funny story. Yeah, I had a Subaru STI. I had an external wastegate. It was a very fast car, very nice, very quick.
I miss that car.
Rip. Yeah, I miss
it handled
it too.
like, yeah, everybody.
It's like you were on rails.
Oh, dude, yeah. with a good set of summer tires, dude, that thing was on rails. And plus,
Even on
like,
studded snows, still
Yeah.
amazing.
the thing just handled on rails, dude. It was amazing. Yeah. He got, okay, what was it, like a summer day a couple years ago? We were going to get car parts, I think, right? I think so. But Dan was like, are you going to let me drive that? I was like, sure, drive it. And we get on the main road, and he's like, gives it a little bit of beans in the
It wasn't
external
even that
wastegate.
much either. It was like I rolled into it in like second or third gear. Third gear, I think I rolled into it just enough for it to open
Right.
up.
Right. But the funny thing, yeah,
we weren't going
yeah.
fast. We
So,
were going like the speed
We weren't
limit.
going fast. Hold on, let me explain what an external wastegate is. An external wastegate is a valve that, so a turbo, wow, this might be a long explanation.
Spark Notes version.
What is a turbo? What is internal combustion?
Yeah. Essentially, an external wastegate controls horsepower on a turbocharged vehicle. We'll say that. And it can either vent into your exhaust system, and that muffles it, or it can vent directly outside the exhaust system. So this external wastegate vents directly outside the exhaust
Very
system.
loud.
It's very loud. It's not good for the environment. I do not support it anymore. I was a stupid kid. You should always have a catalytic converter. But at that time, I didn't. And Dan does like a little third gear roll and opens it up. And as we come off the throttle, we roll past a cop that was like hiding behind a tree in an abandoned house. And
That's got to be one big fucking tree of a
It
cop
was
sitting
a
behind it.
big tree.
dude, it was a big, yeah, it was a big bush, I think. Tree bush, I don't know. But yeah, a cop pulls us over, and he's like, I don't know what happened. He was like, I didn't see anything.
He knew we weren't speeding, but he was like, there was a lot of fucking
Right.
noise. Like,
Yeah. It was just like, whap. And the cop is like, there was no speeding, because we were in traffic too. Like, there were cars around us. And he's like, I can only make a guess, because my car looked racy, like it was like a race car looking car. He's like, I'm gonna guess it was you. I'm like, sure. And then, he goes back to the car, and he's writing up the ticket. Which
he gave me a warning.
before that, he
written
was
warning.
yeah, he gave him a written warning. But before that, he was like, okay, you have your license and registration. Dan was driving. I was like, it's my car. He's like, okay, can you get me your license and registration? I was like, well, I can give you my license, but my registration's in my glove box with my gun. And he's like, oh, okay, well, it's New Hampshire. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's like, don't get it.
Yeah, don't open the glove box.
Reach
Don't
for it. Nothing.
don't grab it. Yeah, just, whatever. I'm going to go do this. And so he does it, comes back, and then he gives Dan a warning for not showing the registration to him.
Failure to
What a
provide
douchebag.
registration and like a noise ordinance or something like that.
I wonder if he
Disturbing the
like
peace or
forgot that
something.
conversation as soon as
So-
he got back to his
So the
vehicle.
best part though is I say something to him because it's on there. I'm like, well, we can give you the registration. You just wouldn't like let us. And he was just like, oh, he takes the carbon copy that he already detached and gave me and put a line through it and then hands it back to me. And I'm like,
it's still
it's
on
still
his
on
copy.
his copy. Yeah. So like if someone looks at mine and if his is in the records or whatever, like if they look at
Right.
mine, it's just going to look like I put a line through it myself because it's like,
So you have to trust that he put a line through it
yeah,
on his
which
end.
I mean, if he put it on it in the first place, I feel like he didn't put a line through it, but whatever.
That's hilarious. I wonder if there's a way you could look that up, like public record.
Probably.
Yeah, you can
I'll call them and be like,
yeah,
hey,
the-
listen, did
the
he take
town
this
and be
off?
like, I mean, it's old AF now, so I wouldn't even
Yeah.
worry about it.
Might
but-
even be expunged.
Yeah, I don't even think it's on your record anymore. But yeah, the good old days. But damn, that was a EV talk right there. We just had like a whole car podcast. I'm fine with it, man. That worked. Well, any last words, fellas?
What, are you gonna fucking kill us? Are you gonna murk us?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, love and prosperity. Those are my last words.
Love and
night.
prosperity.
I love you.
Okay, but generic. Good night.
Good night, sweet prince.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the Smallz Talk Podcast.